Hello, hello. We is back. Oh, welcome back, everyone. Hope you're well. Who's ready for another practice session? This is the one that matters. This is the one that matters, guys. About to start any second now. Green light, pit exit open, any second now. But happy Friday. Cheers. Nice rum and coke. Sorry, rum and lemonade. Rum and lemonade. There we go. Green light, pit exit open. FP2 is underway. Hopefully there's no rain. Does look sunny-ish at the moment. Few clouds in the air over in Austria in the Red Bull Ring. So yeah, hopefully it's an uninterrupted one, because we want to see some push laps here, don't we, this afternoon? But yeah, this afternoon, everyone. Hope you're well. Hope you're well. There's no live chat on screen. It takes a little while to pop up. So there you go. First message, Kat. You're the first message on screen. But yeah, welcome everyone. Hope you're good. Hope your Friday's treating you well. The weekend has kind of truly begun now, hasn't it? And yeah, let's see what this session has in store for us. So no rookies in this session, in this FP2 session. So everyone who is supposed to be in their car is back in their car. Lando Norris, of course, stepped out in FP1 for Alex Dunn, who did tremendously well. Was less than a tenth behind Oscar Piastri in the end and in the top 5. So definitely one to keep an eye on in the future. Currently leading the F2 Championship. And then we had Bogdanovic in for Charles Leclerc as well. So Charles is in the car. But it was, for Lewis Hamilton, not a good practice session, because he, unfortunately, had a gearbox issue that he had to contend with. So you're sure that this one will be Stroll's Tour de Farce? Hey, Karen, good to see you. Alex Dunn is the next F1 world champion after these drivers. Oof. I mean, it's very weird to see drivers that you used to compete with Alex Dunn, because he was always too quick, but drive with online, like sim race with. Kimi Antonelli's one of them. Alex Dunn's another one. I mean, Alex still does drive consistently on iRacing. It's weird to see them all come through into Formula One now, but that's the nature of how things have changed. Kids now spend their time on sims and understandably iRacing and that, whereas when I was growing up it was Call of Duty. So there is, like, every single stream there's like a chat thing, so if you're engaging with the chat and the community, you get a crown. Basically, the top 3 get noticed, and yeah, it resets every stream. So it's just a fun little thing that YouTube have added. I don't believe there's still yet a way to accumulate how many #1 crowns you've had. Hopefully that's something YouTube can do, because that'd be quite cool. But yes, this is an important session for Lando, of course, because he's missed out on one session already. So he needs to dial himself in at a track that he always does very well at. And then, of course, Charles Leclerc as well, and Lewis Hamilton, as I mentioned, those issues. So they got big sessions ahead of them in trying to get their cars dialed in. Russell obviously already looked pretty good, picked up where he left off after Canada 2 weeks ago, and Max Verstappen was also up there as well. So the updates on the Red Bull may be having an impact, but primarily the single lap pace hasn't been an issue for Red Bull this year. It's been the tyre degradation, isn't it? So that's really what their updates, you imagine, will be aimed at, is ensuring that they're better on their tyres. Hey gamer, what do you do with the XP you get? You can't do anything with it. It's just, yeah, it's just a fun thing that YouTube have added. What was pole position time from last year, Mark? It was a 1:04.3. So earlier on, we had the fastest time was a 1:05.5. So we're still 1.3 seconds, 1.2 seconds back from pole position of last year. We may get close to that in FP2, I think. Of course, this is the session. This is the representative session. Hey, Taco, good to see you, mate. This is the representative session that everyone goes out and does their performance runs in, because it is the session that is in the afternoon, of course, held at a similar time of the day as to what qualifying will be tomorrow. So that's why everyone goes and does their quali runs in this session. The link isn't working. Why is it not working? Let me have a check, Dan. It's working for me. It worked for me. Can someone else click on it and see if it works? The channel member link. Did it work for you? Might be. Try opening it up. I don't know if you're watching on a mobile device, Dan. The missus just tried it. Maybe try and open it. If you're on a desktop, try and open it up. Right-click it and open it up in a new tab. It's a real faff. It is a real faff. It should just be a simple click a join button and join. Really, that's how it should be. It is on most devices except from Apple devices, like we mentioned in the stream earlier, because Apple are greedy and they want a bit of cherry on top, don't they? Or they want a bit of the pie, shall we say, which is what Google aren't willing to do for Apple devices, which is a shame. You have Apple, that would make sense. Yeah, maybe try hold the link down and select open link in new tab. But see, the missus, she is literally sitting right here, and she'll put her. Can you put your hand up and wave? There you go. There's the missus' hand. That's all you're getting of her. Why was there 2 Austrian Grand Prix in 2021? COVID. Do you not remember COVID? Yeah, the season actually started in Austria, so we had back-to-back races in Austria. So was it 2021? Actually, it was 22, wasn't it? Wasn't it 22? So it goes to my page. Yeah, it should do, and then it should open. There should be a pop-up. It might be that the pop-up's not opening, Dan. I appreciate. Look, man, it's all right. I appreciate obviously trying to join. Maybe do it on a desktop or something afterwards. So 2020 and 21 was it? Did we have 2 races in Austria in 21? Oh, okay, fair enough. That was quite some time ago, so she's all right. Because she grabbed the cable. Babies are so durable, aren't they? Just face planted, and she's laughing it off. What was the top 10 in FP1? I can't remember. I know the top 2 or top 3. What were the top 3? Top 3, I think Bortoletto was actually up there, but I know that the top 2 were Russell and Max, that Oscar Piastri was 4th, Alex Dunn, who was in the 2nd McLaren in for Lando Norris, was P5. Yeah, there wasn't really, couldn't really take too much into account with FP1, to be honest with you. Track temperature did decrease quite dramatically, and people had a couple of performance laps, but they didn't really push so much. Hey Andrew, all the way from Oz. Good to see you again, buddy. Am I going to watch the F1 movie? Yeah, not this week. I will watch it at some point though. Oh, here we go. Lando's on a push lap already, is he? Doesn't say what tyres he's on. I'll see if I can catch a TV coverage of what tyres he's on. The fact he's done a 16.6 in the first sector means that that's quite quick. I think that's quicker than what we saw in... Or it's around what we saw George Russell set in the first sector in FP1 as Lando. This is a Lando track. 29.3 is a bit slower. Needs to be sub 29, really. But this is a Lando track. He's always gone very well here. Of course, scored his first podium here, didn't he, at McLaren? And he arguably should have had the win last time around here. Of course, him colliding with Max in the end. So 105.9 for him. So still some way off the fastest lap we saw last year, which was a 104.3 in Q3. But we know that there is still plenty of time out there for these guys. And I don't know if he might even be on a set of mediums right now. I'm trying to find out if that is the case. Hey, Barack, good to see you. This session, Tater, this session, FP2 is always primarily the the representative session because it's held in the afternoon, which is when qualifying is held on a Saturday. So Lando is indeed on a set of mediums. So that lap time is on a set of mediums. So he hasn't set that on the softs. So we've still got performance runs to come probably halfway through this session. If Verstappen goes to Merc, where could Russell end up? I think a straight swap. What do you guys think? I think... Let's do a poll. Let's do a poll. Let's get you guys engaged. Hang on, let's get my keyboard. Here we go. Here we go. Let's do a poll. Checo's coming back next year. I think he'll be at Caddy. I think, yeah, most probably. So, if Russell leaves Mercedes... So, this is if Russell leaves Mercedes. Like, oh, he's replaced. Where do we think he'll go? We're going to say Red Bull as he goes fastest in the first sector. We're going to say Red Bull. We're going to say... Aston Martin, maybe. I don't know. Let's say Cadillac. I've probably spelled... Is Cadillac double D, isn't it? Cadillac. Or... Apparently he had links with Audi. Would he end up at Audi? I don't know if he'd end up at Audi. Maybe. Maybe Audi. Could he end up at McLaren, maybe? I don't know. I don't think so. I don't think he'd end up at McLaren. Where do you think he'll end up? Personally, I think it'd be a straight swap. I think Red Bull would love to take George Russell if Max goes. That's what I think. Great to know that Checo. It's not confirmed he will be back, Carlo, but it's highly rumoured he will be. I think he will be in the Cadillac team. I think they've probably agreed terms. They might not have just signed on the dotted line yet. But I think he'd be a good buy. I think commercially, he'd be very good. I think also from a driver perspective, I think Checo still has a role to play. I think he's still a good driver, especially in the midfield where he excelled for many a year. He can help develop that team as well. He has great knowledge, of course, of being part of arguably the most dominant team in F1 history, Red Bull, over the last couple of seasons. He can help bring that knowledge to Cadillac. And yeah, you bring someone, I don't know, younger or someone else alongside. So he's like the experienced head. And then you have maybe, you can gamble on your second seat a bit more if they want to. Hey, folk, good to see you, mate. No worries, no worries. I'm happy to be part of your background noise. Russell will probably go back to Williams. I forgot Williams. Yeah, maybe. Cadillac already have drivers. Audi are keeping the Sauber drivers, so options would be Williams, Aston Martin, or Red Bull. I don't know. I mean, the thing is that if a driver of Russell's caliber came on the market, same as Max Verstappen, like, I think there's many. Would you drop Hülkenberg or Bortoleto to try and sign George Russell? I would. I mean, with no disrespect to Bortoleto or Hülkenberg, but they don't hold a candle to George Russell. I would say, yep. What is going on with Lando's transponder there? I don't think Lando has actually crashed, by the way. He's just in the pit lane because there's no yellow flag. So do not fear. Yep, Lando is in the pit lane. Bit of an issue there with the transponder. Max won't leave Red Bull Racing. If he goes, he'll stop in F1. You reckon? I don't think so. Yes, Norris was out on the mediums. He was indeed. Yeah, I saw it on the TV coverage. So that lap time Lando is set at the moment, a 1:05.5, was set on the mediums. He's in the pit lane. So will we see the soft tyre go on already? Maybe. Oh, no. And Lando, I think, is coming back out on mediums, but his transponder is playing up. Lando's got the Russell telemetry bug. I know. It has made it very difficult. The telemetry, unfortunately, has not been good at the start of races, and it has made my commentary a bit difficult on race starts over this season. But we've got through it. So I appreciate everyone for bearing with, especially last week at Canada, or last time out of Canada. It would be terrible to lose Gabby. He doesn't deserve it. No, but there's plenty of drivers that don't deserve it. You'd arguably say... Everyone can hear you. I would say George Russell doesn't deserve to lose his Mercedes seat, but that's it, isn't it? That's what happens in F1. Piastri into P2 there on a set of hards. Going well on hards. Don't think Williams can afford Georgie's salary now. There, that's a question that could be a stumbling block, isn't it? So, GR making the talks public does not really help him. Always better to keep things quiet and let the outsiders make the reports. I don't know, Aaron. I mean, you don't... I think there comes a point. There comes a point where George and his camp obviously feel that Mercedes are stalling, personally. Toto had an interview and went, no, everything's fine. There's no delay in our contracts. But George is doing everything that he needs to do. He's proven himself more so this season and last season, personally. And it's like, well, I also... cleverly, you also need to let the wider... You need to kind of put a little bit of pressure on Toto Wolff from the media perspective. Because social media does play a role now in F1. And you also need to let other teams up and down the paddock know that, hang on, why is Toto stalling? Why are they stalling on a talent like George Russell? So clearly things behind the scenes, maybe things have just been going on way too long. And maybe things are agreed. And George is just like, and his camp are very much like, Mercedes are just refusing to sign at the moment. Like, we're happy with the terms. It's just the fact of it, they don't want to sign. So you always have to think as a driver in your best interests, regardless of how long you've been at a team for. And I think that's all that George is doing now. And he's just subtly doing it, isn't he? He's doing it in a clever way because he's saying, oh, I understand if someone like Max Verstappen I understand if someone like Max Verstappen is available, the team has to explore that avenue which potentially holds my contract up. I know, I totally get it. He's doing it in a very clever way because he's not necessarily having a go at the team. He's saying, I understand. So he's very clever, George, and his camp are very clever when it comes to the PR and the optics. So, is this last season for Yuki? Unfortunately, yes, I do, Carlo. I don't think, unless Honda throw even more money at Red Bull, I think Red Bull are going to let Yuki go. And I think Yuki is going to be out of a seat for 26. That's my suspicion, especially with the Honda partnership ending as well. I don't think Ford will be too overly keen on having Yuki, a Honda-affiliated driver, in that car when they've got their name attached to Red Bull. Not saying Ford would want to put in their own driver, but I think Ford, because the optics there, again, optics, the fact of it, everyone knows Yuki is a Honda-affiliated driver. It's well known that Honda pay for Yuki's seat in Red Bull. I don't think Ford will want that. And I think probably Hadjar will get promoted up into that second seat if he continues the form that he's on. Oh, hang on, what's happening there? Hamilton and Antonelli nearly collided. Oh, my goodness. Kimi Antonelli. Oh, is that impeding by Lewis? Not good. Not good there. I mean, Lewis was checking his mirrors. He was checking his mirrors, but he checked his mirrors down into turn 4, and it was... Oh, no. He apologised, but will he get a penalty for that? We'll see. Check the replays. Charles had a massive moment. I haven't seen Charles's moment. As I said, I was just seeing the moment between Kimi Antonelli and Lewis Hamilton. So Lando Transponder got sent to the Shadow Realm. Yeah, I don't know. Lando's not even there, is he? Typical. Aaron, GR should have shown this coming though. Lewis Hamilton showed loyalty as a myth with Mercedes. GR to Red Bull would be fun though. Yeah, I think. Look, George is very calm. There you go. Hamilton and Antonelli noted impeding. George is very calm in his interviews because he has, as he said before, and it was a great line, he went, in Formula 1, performance is currency. Dan, thank you for joining the pit crew. Oh, I'm so happy it worked out for you. Thank you, buddy. much, much appreciated for becoming a member. Thank you. And if you want to support the channel even further, guys, you can join the pit crew and join as a member as well. So yeah, big thank you, Dan, because I know it's not easy on Apple devices to join on YouTube. So yeah, thank you, buddy. What was I talking about? George Russell. He says performance is currency in F1 as he goes fastest in the first sector, as we are now potentially seeing some performance runs here as he's on a set of softs. He's doing what he needs to do, and I think anyone, I don't think he'd be short of offers, put it this way. And I think it would be, people rate Carlos Sainz highly, and so do I, but I think George Russell's better than Carlos Sainz, and I think he's performing better than Sainz at this stage of the season in the machinery that he's in compared to Sainz last year when he was out of the seat. So yeah, I think George will not be too short of suitors, put it that way. Even if people have got contracts for next year, contracts can always be bought out, as we know. There's plenty of money being thrown around in F1. So yeah, it is a money sport at the end of the day. Right, here goes George. What time does he set on the first push run here? Oh, okay. Not that quick compared to the McLaren of Lando Norris on a set of mediums. That's interesting. Did he have a little wobble somewhere? I mean, his last sector wasn't particularly great. It was a 19.8. So, yeah, he's 2 temps down there, George. Nearly 3 temps down in that last sector. So, did he run wide? Maybe George ran wide there. I'm sure I'll get a replay of it soon. So, thank you, Dan. Much appreciated. Impeding pending practice is ridiculous. Just apologise and move on. I think it should just be fines. I think impeding should be fines because it is a breach of safety. Fine the team. Don't punish the drivers so much, you know. Just qualifying, yes, but when it comes to practice, yeah, just get over it. And then if they do it in qualifying, then fair enough. It's like a penalty. Chiron, try using your browser instead of the app. Yeah, it may be. Yeah, it may be just the app that's the issue. So, someone's going to race in place of Piastri as well. You reckon? Then as weekend just got worse with such a performance from Dunn. Well, look, I think what Dunn has done. Hey, here we go. What Dunn has done, pun fully intended there, is he has made his intentions clear that he is most definitely someone to keep an eye on from the McLaren perspective, and he is going to keep pressure on Norris and Piastri. So, yeah, and also he's made probably a few teams up and down the grid raise their eyebrows that, oh, there's this guy who's leading F2, he's actually the real deal. His first year in F2 as well. So that's super impressive to jump straight into FP1 and be that close to Piastri. I mean, the championship leader. So, especially in his first ever official session in F1. So, should be different penalties for intentional blocking and accidental blocking. Yeah, I mean, I guess the intentional blocking, I think there probably is, you know. Like, I think they could probably tell if someone's intentionally blocking. Oh, hang on, watching Lando's on board now. What happened with Lando? Oh my goodness. Who was that in the Red Bull? Max Dawdlin, kind of in the middle of the racetrack there. Says he drives on the left, but I mean, Max didn't exactly leave. I mean, Max was a little bit indecisive of where he should go, but that's not impeding, though. No, Max is all right. Max is all right there, but it's just a bit of a odd choice to just dawdle in the middle of the racetrack, to be honest with you. But yeah, sorry, going back to intentional blocking, I think it's difficult to kind of say whether someone's intentionally blocking, but most of the, I mean, they need to be punished in their day because it's down to the teams, it's down to the engineers in qualifying, particularly to let the drivers know when someone is coming through. They use what we're using now. It's like, okay, Albon's coming through. Like, slow down. I just saw Albon. I did just see Hamilton's Verstappen's helmet. Yeah, it's quite nice actually. The orange on the black. So no one blocks intentionally. No, I mean it's too dangerous to block intentionally, isn't it, Matt? That's the thing. What's the point of trying to block intentionally? You get nothing from it. you're more likely you're putting yourself at risk. Oh, Hadjar, quickest in the middle sector, by the way. First time we've seen someone go sub 29 seconds in the middle sector, but it looks like he's had his own moment there, Hadjar, because of his own teammates. Oh dear. Oh dear. What happened there? Or did he just have his own, or was he just pushing too hard and he lost control of the car? I don't know. But Lawson looked like he was going slow to let Hadjar through, and then Hadjar bowed out. So watching a replay now. What happened with Hadjar? And he just bowed out of it. Had lots of mid corner understeer through turn 7, and yeah, he bowed out of the lap pretty early. Why are you being asked where Russell will go and Mercedes not signing it? Well, this is it, Scottish. What we're asking is if George Russell doesn't get retained by Mercedes because his contract hasn't been signed yet, he doesn't have a seat for 2026. And as he even said himself, oh, I understand why like Mercedes might not sign me yet because Max Verstappen's potentially available. Dropping that little nugget in there for everyone. I think everyone kind of knew what he was intending there, while not necessarily saying it outright, but they're having discussions with him. Hang on, Hadjar. The washout was crazy, which is why he bowed out, which came from his own teammate, as George Russell has gone quickest in the first sector. It's the question of, okay, if Russell leaves Mercedes, where would he go? Where will he go? And 46% of you think George will end up at Red Bull. So, Austria is a great track. I love it. Kat, can I do a poll if I think Max will get a 1-race ban after Austria? No, I'm not going to run that sort of poll. Because that's kind of like, there's lots of like different scenarios for that, really. Why are even Merck waiting so long to sign Russell? He's been driving consistently for the team. It's because Max, they're still having conversations with Max. B. Simple as. Simple as. I think the higher-ups at Mercedes want Max as well. So I think there's also that element to it. Toto may want to sign George, but he is still only a part owner of the Mercedes F1 team. He still has masters, shall we say, bosses, that he has to speak with and adhere to. And I think the higher-ups at Mercedes want Max Verstappen. So if Russell leaves, who will get the sets in? Sorry, if Russell leaves Mercedes, who will get the seat there? Verstappen, I think. I don't think anyone goes to Mercedes. I mean, people were saying for Antonelli, it could be Russell, it could be Antonelli who sits out for a year. But I just don't see that happening. I think they rate Antonelli too highly, and I think they've invested so much in his future and his development already. I don't think Antonelli's going to go anywhere. But anyway, we've got some push laps here, guys, and you can see that Piastri has gone fastest in that first sector by nearly a tenth over George Russell in that first sector. So we'll see how he gets on here in the middle. It looks like he's going to get a relatively clean lap here, so shouldn't be interrupted. So we'll see how he gets on. 28.851. Oh my goodness, that's somewhat quicker than everyone else in that middle sector. But look at Lando, slightly quicker than Piastri in that first sector, and he's got a clean lap ahead of him as Lewis Hamilton goes third fastest there. But Piastri, is this a first sub 1 minute? Yeah, here we go. 1 minute 4 seconds, 0.7. So we are 4 tenths off of pole position of last year. So let's stay on board with Lando, heading his way through turn 6, a track that he's always liked, Lando. So let's see how he gets on through turn. Oh, look at that, 28.737. He's put a 100th of a second on his teammate in the first sector, but in the middle sector where all the corners are, Lando, he's put over a tenth on Piastri in that middle sector. Last couple of corners for him, and well, that is a 104.580. 1.5 tenths is a large margin at the shortest lap in the calendar, or timed lap on the calendar. It's not the shortest lap per se by distance, but time-wise, it is the shortest. Only 10 corners for them to navigate, and to be honest with you, it's 9. It's 9 corners, because turn 5 isn't really a corner. Actually, no, it's 8 corners, because turn 2 isn't a corner, and let's be honest, turn 5 isn't really a corner either. So, yeah. You love my commentary? Thank you, buddy. Much appreciated. Hey, Ben, good to see you. Ineos wants Max today. Yeah, but Ineos don't have that large of a stake in Mercedes anymore, because they purchased quite a large stake in Manchester United. They've massively reduced their stake in Mercedes, hence why you know that their sponsorship now isn't like a focal point. Why like the on top, like the roll hoop and stuff. I mean, it isn't red anymore, is it? It's not Ineos anymore. It doesn't have that focal point because they don't pay the money anymore. So I don't think Hamilton will get a penalty for impeding. No, it's been noted. I mean, will he get a penalty? I don't know. It's harsh if he does in practice, but I mean, he did impede Antonelli. He did apologise, but we'll see. Did Lando just beat the lap record? No, a 104.3 was pole position of last year, so we're still just a couple of attempts back from it. But there we go. Lando, who needs FP1, eh? Who needs FP1 as we're halfway through this FP2 session? And yeah, Lando and Piastri, top of the timing screens there. And this is a circuit that Lando does love. Hey, Israel, good to see you. It feels a bit odd to listen to radio without GP. Yeah, he's not there this weekend, is he? Max Verstappen's usual engineer, GP, is not there, so he's got someone else in his stead. Lando just beat the lap record. Well, I looked at pole position of last year and it was a 104.3, so I don't think that's the lap record. Let me have a look. I'm pretty sure I checked it, and last year's pole position... Let's have a look. Where are we? Austria. Qualifying. 104.3 was what Max set last year. So 105. No, that'd be a race record. So lap record technically is within the race. So actual qualifying, though, it was a 104.3. So. Oh my God, Stroll at 4 attempts back. Yeah, no, there's still plenty of improvement out there. Don't worry. As Lawson's on an outlap now, so we'll keep an eye on him and how he gets on. Anyone else yet to set a push lap? Max hasn't set a push lap yet. He's still in the pit lane. Max he's only done 6 laps, I think, this session. Yeah, he's only done 6 laps, Max. So I'm not entirely sure what's occurring with him. As I'm watching Nico Hulkenberg have a bit of a moment through turn 1. Oof, had to take avoiding action there. Fastest ever is a 102.9 by Valtteri Bottas in 2020. Yeah, there you go. That's not being beaten. That's definitely not being beaten. Will it rain this weekend? That's a fair point. I haven't looked at the weather report for this weekend. F1. Oh, hang on. What am I saying? F1. Red Bull Ring weather. No, not at the moment. But you never know in Austria, especially where they're situated in the mountains. When it comes to the Red Bull Ring, the weather can change on a dime, but it does say 0% chance. It's not even 10% or 1%. It says 0% chance of rain on Sunday and this weekend. So, oh my goodness, Lando's going quicker again. 16.299, but we know Lando can go quick. We know that. But it's whether or not he can go quick in the final run in Q3. That's where it matters for Lando, isn't it? So, but at the moment, 28.803 in the middle sector. So, yeah, he's about 700ths down in the middle sector there. Maybe caught out a little bit by Lewis Hamilton. Second lap on this set of tyres. But wow, to improve as he did in that first sector, that's quite something there. That's quite something. Because it is just one corner. The first sector is literally one corner. Turn 1, and then the sector line is just before you get into turn 3. So a 104.664 there for Lando. So lost a little bit of time in the middle sector, which maybe suffered for him with those tyres at the end of the lap through turn 9 and 10. Was it because of a bit of dirty air from Lewis Hamilton? I don't know. Might just be because it is the second push lap on this same set of soft tyres. So Max, Senna, Schumacher and Alonso, the 4 Rain Masters race 1, racing their primes in a rainy Brazil. Yeah, I always hate comparing across kind of like different eras, because especially when it comes, I mean, any sport really, because the sport is so different. F1 especially more so than any others, because the cars have changed so dramatically. So I think you can kind of detail who is the GOAT of their era and so forth. But yeah, I mean, there's no guarantee that Max Verstappen would be able to drive Senna's McLaren, and Senna would be able to drive this car and so forth in their primes, you know, because it's just completely different and completely foreign to what they would have dealt with in their eras. So if Apex GP was becoming a real team, they invited you to drive for them, would you accept? No. No, because I'd respectfully decline, because I know I'm not good enough. I'm not quick enough. And I'm not slim enough either. I'm way too overweight for F1 driver standards. They need to be around 85 kilos, I think. 80 kilos. And I think my right leg weighs about 80 kilos. Why do teams use new tyres for practice instead? They could use them in quali and race day. So they get a certain allocation. They need to use new tyres because, well, the tyres fall off in degradation and performance, and they need to see how their car performs. If the setup is okay, they're going to be starting on new tyres, of course, for qualifying and the race on Sunday. So it's all about gathering data. If the modern era drivers were an equal machinery, who do you think would be the fastest? I think there's a few drivers. Probably Max would be up there. I think Lewis would be up there. Charles. I mean, you can quite easily ascertain who is quite better than others, like, can't you? Like, especially, I mean, this actually. Do I say Lewis would be up there if he was in this machinery? I don't know. I think Lewis has been just a step off of it. Especially by his high standards in this regulation set. I think this regulation set has kind of done a lot to shatter his confidence. I think 2026 will move more back into what Lewis Hamilton likes. Fernando Alonso similarly, that they grew up with lighter, more nimble cars. Not to say that obviously they haven't had their moments where they've performed well, but overall, yeah, I think the likes of Verstappen, who is not gone through those so many different regulation changes, same as Lando, same as Charles, they would fare better, I think so. I'm only joking. My right leg doesn't, my right or left leg doesn't weigh 80 kg, but you get my point. In F1, I'm always waiting for a race where there are overtakes and real racing practically every lap. I mean, look, you're not going to get racing every single lap or overtakes every single lap, but it's more about, and you don't even need overtakes necessarily for a race to be interesting. What you need is a battle. You get a buzz out of like cars fighting, don't you? In the day, like I can appreciate a very good defensive drive from someone. Like we saw it. I mean, look, it wasn't necessarily a great defensive drive from Max last year. He definitely moved in the braking zone a few times, and then of course eventually they collided, Lando and that. But the battle was great. The attempt of, can Lando get it done? Can Max hold him off? Like that's what you want to see. And even if it ended up that it went a different way and Max didn't do the things that he did, and Max eventually won and held Lando off, yeah, there wasn't an overtake for the race win, but what a battle. That's what you come away wanting to see. So you find it really interesting that all the old drivers really struggle just because of how much weight these cars have gained. Yeah, definitely, Taco. Yeah. It's 100% a factor. 100%. I'm skinny compared to you, Dan. I appreciate that, buddy. You look alright yourself, though. You look like you're doing alright for yourself, buddy. Honestly, people are way too ambitious with their expectations of F1. They think... Hello? They think back then they used to be a battle every second. No lap was boring, but F1 back in the day had many laps boring. Oh, F1 has been plenty boring in the past. Go back to, I mean, the Schumacher era was boring. Like, it was boring. I don't think people remember, and some of you weren't even alive, which is crazy to say. Some of you weren't even born. The Schumacher era was boring. It just was. Like, yes, Schumacher was great. However, Ferrari had such a stranglehold over the rest of the field. He could start from the pit lane and lap the field. Now, yes, he's a very talented driver. However, that was also because the Ferrari was an absolute rocket ship. So, and I think also a lot of people were introduced to F1 in arguably the most competitive season in F1 history, especially the championship, 2021. It's only happened twice in F1 history where into the last race of the season, the championship contenders have been joint on points. So that just shows how that is the rare. That's not the norm. That's the rarity, not the norm with what we saw in 21. What we saw, unfortunately, the 3 years after that, where Red Bull got the regulations absolutely right and smashed the rest of the field, that's unfortunately been more of the norm in F1 history than what 2021 was. So 2007 is a good season. Yeah, 2007, 2008 were good. 2012 was good. 2010 was good as well. Yeah, kind of from like 2007, I would say, to 2012 were really enjoyable. And then after that, yeah, the hybrid era was really boring, wasn't it? Let's be honest. I mean, at least we got to see, thankfully, we at least got to see Lewis and Nico go at it. If we had just a situation where Lewis didn't have a teammate to fight, it would have been very, very boring for a long time. So 89 season and 94 season come down to the last races. Yeah, they came down to the last races, but they weren't equal on points, were they? I don't think. They weren't equal on points. But still, I mean, that's what I want for this season. That's why I want Lando to win this race. That's why I wanted him to win last time out as well, because you want the battle to stay close throughout the season so that we go into the last couple of races with there still being plenty on the line. In your opinion, how many World Drivers' Championship could Senna have won if he never passed? So it's before my time, Senna. I was born in 91, so I don't comment on Senna too much. I mean, was he still... Because the regulations were changing, weren't they? We were heading towards like flappy paddle gearboxes and so forth, and I think he started to fall off a little bit. Am I wrong there? If my memory serves me correctly from documentaries I've seen, his performance wasn't as high as what it was, obviously. I mean, he was past his peak back then. 94, 96, 97 in that Williams. Do you think he would have won? Would he have won in those? I mean, you've then got Schumacher coming through. You've got Damon Hill in there as well. Yeah. I mean, you guys know better than I do. So, I mean, I kind of like don't comment on Senna and so forth because I wasn't around to witness him. So, he was faster than Williams. He would have won. Okay, fair enough. What's my favourite track? Silverstone. Flappy Paddle started in 89. Did it? I thought it was a bit later than that. Did it really start in 89? Or am I thinking more the Formula... I think I'm thinking more the Formula style wheel rims started in the 90s, didn't they? So, she's good, Andrew. Yeah, she's being fed right now. Williams just had 10 times better cars in 92 and 93. Oh, hang on. What happened with Ollie Behrman? Hang on. Ollie Behrman in the gravel. We've all done that. We've all done that, Ollie. Don't worry. Pushing the limits there through turn 6. Which team might get the most advantage after the regulation change next year? Well, everyone's putting a lot of stock into Mercedes because it's primarily an engine regulation change. Yes, there's aero and it's heavily influenced by the aero, of course. But if you've got a poor engine next season, you're not going to be able to compete, even if you've got a good aero package. So people are putting a lot of stock into Mercedes because, of course, they dominated the last engine reg change, which was 2014 with the hybrid era. But there's no guarantee. Ferrari could come out and smash it. Ford with Red Bull powertrains could smash it. Honda could get it right. Who knows? Who knows? 2026 is a complete unknown. He might have won with a good car. In 91, 93, McLaren was very bad, so I guess give him at least 1 or 2 if he raced till 40. Do I think Verstappen will pass Hamilton? No. No, I don't. I think... I mean, he could do. Never say never. I don't know. I mean, he could make a genius... He could make a genius move. But I think to surpass Hamilton and surpass Schumacher... You need to time your career very well. You need to move to the right team at the right time. I'm not sure Red Bull are going to dominate the next set of engine regs. And I think for him to win 3 or 4 more world championships, he's going to need to be in a team that has that sort of level of domination, I think. Because I think that the level is so high now in F1. Yes, Max is very well talented, but I do think that you need a significant advantage to get up to 7, like car advantage to get to 7, 8 world titles. There's that too, John. There's that too, Sam. Moving to Merc in 26 would be a smart move for Max. Yeah, I mean, he could move to Merc in 26, and we could look back at that as a defining moment in Max's career, and go in. That was it. That was the moment, you know, when Lewis left McLaren to go to Mercedes. To go to Mercedes, it could be that level of decision that changes the future of the sport, the history of the sport. It really could be. Time will tell, guys. Time will tell. Yeah, like to be Lewis and Michael, you need to be winning team for 7 years plus. Yeah, exactly, and that's a long time. That's a very long time. You need to be fortuitous with that as well. Like, yes, you can be a very good driver, but look at Fernando Alonso. Fernando Alonso has played the career game very poorly. Arguably, I still think he's the main factor in why a set number of teams he's been in have failed. And then once he's left, the teams have actually improved. But the talent that he is, and the times that the way that he's timed moves to different teams, there is definitely a factor there that he's unfortunately played the career game wrong, and he should have easily double the amount of world titles he's currently got. It says, Max said he would love to win more championship. It's not always about racing, and he might retire a bit sooner and join other series. Yeah, but this is the thing about Max, is that he's done what he achieved to do in his racing life when he first started. So no doubt, every racing driver, when they start, primarily, unless you're like born in America with NASCAR and so forth, I guess, if you, especially like go-kart and open wheel racing, you want to be an F1 driver. It's like a golfer. Everyone starts out, no one wants to be a golf coach. No one wants to be a golf coach. They want to be the next Rory McIlroy, the next Tiger Woods. They want to be winning the majors and so forth. And then they become a golf coach. And it's the same with a lot of like motorsport series as well. They want to make it to F1. They want to make it to NASCAR. Depending on obviously what sort of racing you're into. And with Max, he set out to achieve what he wanted to achieve in open wheel racing. But as he's got older, he's found the love of other motorsport series, endurance racing in particular, GT racing, and he'd love to do that as well. And I think he also likes being part of a team. Like, because speak personally, when you're a golfer, it's a very individual sport. F1 is still a very individual sport as well. But endurance racing is a team sport. And winning with a team is when you've been such an individual for long periods of your life, in your career. It's so different. And it's so much more satisfying winning with a team than it is just on your own. That's from my experience and from people that I've spoken to as well. Same with like golf. I'm comparing it to kind of like golf, tennis as well. Like, you look at the individual sports, and then when they win those team competitions, the Ryder Cup and is it the Laver Cup and so forth or whatever in tennis, like, it means so much to them. Max in IndyCar wins in a year, then leaves. Imagine. Alonso's toxic nature might have something to do with it, though. I think there is a pattern of Alonso leaving teams and then that team becoming good. And it's because there is a bad egg who has just been dispelled, you know. Why is Max spending so much time in the pits? I noticed this in first practice. I'm not sure. Maybe he's not happy with the setup. I'm trying to listen to the TV coverage, and there's nothing that I've really heard that states why he's been in the pit lane. No issues by the sounds of it, but clearly not. I mean, the only time you'd spend more time in the pits is setup changes or if there's an issue. So it would be so cool if Max, Lewis and Alonso would team up for Le Mans. That'd be a dream team, wouldn't it? Right, so let's have a look at times at the moment. Who is doing well? Who is struggling? Well, we know that McLaren, we expected him to be strong here. I predicted Lawrence to be strong here, as he always has been at the Red Bull Ring. Verstappen, we know he's going to be up here in this at this circuit, a circuit that he loves. My query for Red Bull and Verstappen isn't whether or not if he's going to be able to put in a decent lap time come qualifying. It's going to be whether that Red Bull has decent enough degradation. Tyre management on Sunday. So that's my concerns for Red Bull. Charles Leclerc and Ferrari. Well, Lewis not overly looking good, is he? Down in P10. Soft compound tyre. That was a push run. Has had issues with his gearboxes. Haven't heard anything about it rearing its ugly head in this session. Charles Leclerc up in P5 at the moment. Expected a little bit more from Russell, to be honest with you. But maybe they're just holding back those tyres for tomorrow. Sonoda, okay, up there in P7. Good from Stroll. By the way, why is Stroll up there in P4? Oh, my goodness. The Williams, down in 16th and 17th. Is it going to be another struggle weekend for them here? We will see. Canada was not good, was it, for them? At all. And, of course, Albon had that retirement with another power unit issue. So, let's see how Williams get on this weekend. Why not using DRS right now? Because they're on long runs. So you don't always want to use DRS because it doesn't give you necessarily true pace of the car. What's my opinion about Kyle Larson staying out being better than Max? I mean, look, he's entitled to his own opinion, to be honest with you. I don't read too much into it. I disagree with his statement because I haven't seen Kyle Larson in open wheel cars. I've seen only Kyle Larson in like NASCAR, whereas Max I've seen in multiple cars and he's quick in all of them. So until there's more evidence to suggest otherwise, I think his comment is a bit misplaced. But look, fair play to the guy. If he thinks that way and he backs himself, then so be it. Jay, you feel Lewis's championships and records are most impressive? Max and Schumacher pretty much broke their records without competition from teams or teammates, whereas Lewis was during battles. Yeah, I mean that's kind of my differentiation when it comes to comparing Lewis to the two. Yeah, Lewis did have that inter-team battle with Rosberg. Obviously, his first championship was very closely fought with Massa as well. And then you look at, I think there's only, out of his 7 championships, I think you'd probably say there's two where he really didn't have a fight. He fought Vettel for 2 years. He fought Max for one of them as well. 2020 was an easy year. 2017 was an easy year. 2018 and 19 he fought Vettel. Yeah, that's kind of like how I differentiate it. But there's nothing to that's still not to take away from Verstappen and Schumacher's achievements, because driving a quick car, as we have seen, in particular in the Red Bull, is no easy feat. Driving quick cars is difficult. So, do I think Jack Doohan will be back, Scott? No. Unfortunately. Senna qualified Hill by 1.6 seconds before Dine was on pole for the first 3 races before the crash. Hill went on to win a championship, as did Villeneuve at Williams. Senna would have had 3 more. Fair enough. Yeah, as I said, I can't comment too much on Senna. I was... When he passed away, was it 94 he died? I was 3. So I don't remember Senna. I wasn't around for him. Hamilton's a bit overrated. His performance is not great. I disagree. What, you mean his career? I disagree. I think, not to go off topic and talk entirely about Hamilton, but I don't think there's ever been a rookie who has made such an impact on the sport as Lewis Hamilton has. So, and to win his first championship in his second year in the sport. It was his second year, wasn't it? He's 2007, and then he won 2008, wasn't it? I think so. I disagree. You can have your own opinions about him, and if you think you can, obviously think maybe he had the quickest car for a long period of time. But I think, personally, I don't think his career is overrated. Same as Schumacher's. I don't think Schumacher's career is overrated. But then there is always context of, like, and I've always said it before, the fastest drivers get the fastest cars. Unless your name is potentially Lance Stroll and you luck yourself into getting the fastest car next year. But most of the time, the fastest drivers get the fastest cars for a reason. So Jackie, Ferrari in their floor not looking great. Yeah, I don't know. Lewis, he had that gearbox issue. It's a bit tricky to tell. It's a bit tricky to tell because performance runs don't show the be-all and end-all. Well, they're not the be-all and end-all when it comes to the driver's true pace, especially at a short track like Red Bull Ring. Dirty air is playing a factor. We know that there's impeding and so forth as well. Lewis had issues with the gearbox in the first time around. Yes. You're interrupting my train of thought, Missy. But yeah, I don't really know. We'll have a look at the long runs. I'll have a look at the long runs after this and see how they got on. So there's a new... Sorry, Brent. There is new talent coming up in a few years. It'll be a female driver, though. It's a mixed bloodline from PK and Verstappen. A few years? That's more than a few years, Ren. That's more than a few years. McLaren long run pace is stupidly consistent. Yeah. They are just a cut above the rest, aren't they? The issue with McLaren is if they can't get into clean air. That's their issue, Matt, is that you let them run out front on their own, they're going to run away with it. But if they have a poor qualifying, as we've seen them do many a time, most particularly from one side of the garage than the other, then they aren't this all-supreme car that can just overtake other cars willy-nilly. We saw Piastri get stuck behind Antonelli in Canada, and we've seen it a few times throughout this season where it is still tricky for them to overtake. So, what do the team's dirty air, machine, and bottoming mean? So, dirty air is the air that is... So, a car obviously goes through the air, and what is displaced is all mushed up, shall we say. And it means that it bounces off of the car behind, and if you're in that window of where the dirty air is all displaced, all the air is displaced, then an F1 car is not designed to have air bounce off of it that way. It's designed to be driven in clean air, and it means that you lose grip and performance. That's why, unfortunately, we see drivers struggle in the behind another car. As Max is reporting, I'm struggling a lot with the front now. So yeah, that's the biggest. That's what F1, the regs are always trying to pretty much minimize, is the effect of dirty air, because they know that less of it there is, the closer the cars behind can get to the car in front, and we get closer and better racing. So bottoming out means that the bottom of the car is when you see the sparks. That's the bottom of the car making contact with the curbs and the ground, and that's not necessarily a good thing, because what that does is that, of course, that means that you're losing performance. The car is designed to run as low as possible, but you don't want it bottoming out so much, because then what happens is that the car can bounce and you lose control of your braking in particular. You lose the aero performance. Kimi will definitely dominate in coming years and will be a tough competitor for Max. I think Kimi's definitely one to keep an eye on for the future. Yeah, he's been super impressive this year. I think Kimi's done what he needed. I think Kimi has done what has been asked of him this year. Bed into F1 and just try and have some decent performances. I mean, he's had a couple of tracks where he's not been able to make it into Q3, hasn't he? But for the most part, I mean, what would Red Bull take for their second driver? to qualify in Q3 every single time, you know? In your opinion, Scott, the best years of F1 was between 1980 to 97. That you can't. I wasn't around for those. I can't comment on that, Scott. I wasn't around. Kimmy locked up into T4. Yeah, I did just see that. Hang on. Gasly, something is broken on the car. It's disastrous. Turns 1 and 6 all over the place. Gasly struggling in his Alpine. Let's have an Alpine update, actually. Oh, my goodness. Okay. Let's not have an Alpine update because Colapinto is down in P20. That's not good for Colapinto, is it? Colapinto, by the way, update on him. He has now reached his 5 race limitation that they said Colapinto would only get. And it looks like it's going to be until Silverstone. So they still have one more driver swap available to them, Alpine. So will they use it? We will see. I think almost everyone in this chat races, even if it's a mobile racing game. I mean, look, racing's expensive, isn't it? So whether it's the F1 game, whether if it's iRacing, whether it's a mobile game, we all love it. So, and that's why I will continue to keep posting my races on iRacing and streams when I get the chance because I love it. I'm never going to race in real life. It's too expensive for me. The best next option for me is in my racing from my living room. So, but there we go, guys. FP2 has been completed, and unsurprisingly, Lando Norris and Oscar Piastri top the timing sheets. But Lando Norris, 1.5 tenths quicker than Piastri, so very, very good showing from him. 2 tenths off of pole position of last year, so I think we're going to see that 1.104 smashed when it comes to Q3 tomorrow. Verstappen P3, we know that he's good at this track, but does he have enough in that Red Bull on qualifying tomorrow to get ahead of the McLarens? We'll see. Lance Stroll P4, where has that time come from, Lance Stroll? Is that Stroll being super quick, or is that just everyone else being super slow to an extent? Because Charles Leclerc in P5, Russell P6, Tsunoda P7, Bortoletto 8th, Alonso 9th, Hamilton P10, Antonelli 11th, Lawson 12th, Hadjar 13th, Gasly 14th, Ocon 15th, Albon and Sainz 16th and 17th, Behrman 18th, Hulkenberg 19th, and Colapinto 20th. So I think a few teams there and a few drivers had their performance laps interrupted, to be honest with you. I don't think that's a true reflection, other than the top 3. I don't think that's really kind of a true reflection of the order that we're going to see tomorrow, but never know at the Red Bull Ring. Never say never, Jimmy Broadman. It's true, John, but at the same time, I'm not seeking... people have asked me this before. I'm not seeking a real-life race drive. Never have been. I'm very comfortable driving from my living room. I love motorsport, but I'd like to do some track days. I've never done track days, but an actual racing for real life, I don't know. I don't think it's necessarily for me. I'm quite comfortable doing what I'm doing, and this being full-time rather than make the goal to be always a real-life racing driver. So my path has been very different to like Jimmy, I suppose, where he's always wanted that. For me, golf was always my thing when I was growing up, and I did make that happen. And now I'm doing this. I've always loved motorsport, but it was never... I always loved it as a fan rather than wanting to be an actual racing driver. So... my pleasure, Taco. Yeah, good to see you guys. As always, guys, hit the subscribe button because we are trying to hit 50,000 subs. Can we achieve that this weekend? It's a tall order. We need over 2,000 subscribers, but yeah, we're only a couple of subscribers away from 47,900. So big thank you, guys. Big thank you. I have a video going out very shortly as well from a very eventful Super Formula race that I did on iRacing here at the Red Bull Ring. But of course, we'll be here tomorrow for the Watchalong for FP3 and for qualifying in the afternoon, and then the race on Sunday. And I am also on the Missed Apex podcast Sunday evening as well. So be sure to check that out, guys. Name a teammate that Max or Schumacher has had that is on the same calibre of Lewis's teammate. Yeah, I mean, that has always been the go-to argument, and I do agree. I I don't think both of them ever had the same caliber of teammate as Nico Rosberg. I think Nico Rosberg, I think some people sometimes underplay how good he was. I mean, Nico Rosberg beat Lewis so often over a single lap, and their relationship was tumultuous. I mean, I can't wait for the documentary one day of Lewis Hamilton and Nico Rosberg's time. But Nico Rosberg was a phenomenal driver, and I think he could have challenged for some more championships if... I say challenge, not necessarily win, but I think he could challenge for some more championships if he decided to stay at Mercedes. But of course, his decision was to retire when he did. But yeah, I don't think any of Schumacher or Max's teammates have been the caliber of Nico Rosberg in those 3 years. Yeah, see you tomorrow, guys. I think Gasly will be booted out after this season by Briatore for poor performances. Ooh. I guess it comes down... the thing is, Briatore, it's all about that. It's all about money. But there is still potentially discussions in the background of Alpine being bought out. So Alpine... I'm still not confident Alpine will be Alpine going into next year. Of course, they're heading to Mercedes engines and gearboxes, so there's that as well. Hey, Bear. Yeah, thank you, buddy. See you in the morning. Rosberg was willing to put his marriage on the line to beat Lewis. Yeah. Schumacher's only good rivalries with Raikkonen and Hakkinen. Alonso won because regs to disadvantage Ferrari. Both the Flying Finns gave him a hard time. Yeah, I mean, Hakkinen is my all-time favourite driver. So... 100% of Alpine points. Gasly. Yeah, no, it's true, but it always comes down to money. That's the thing, isn't it? I personally think Gasly should still be on the grid. I don't think he should not be on the grid, you know. Hang on, just watching... What did Max do just there? Oh, Max Verstappen massively locked up into turn 1 after his start down into turn 1. So, Franco doing equals 0 points. That's true. But if they find someone who brings in another 30 million... Does Gasly bring that in? I don't know. I think in the short term, that's probably what Briatore wants. Hence why he's brought Colapinto in. Maybe Colapinto isn't the right choice long term. I don't know. Who knows? But yeah. But anyway, that is it, guys, for me. Is it real that 23.6 will have 22 drivers? It is, Toner. Yeah, because Cadillac's joining next year. So we have 11 teams on the grid, 22 drivers. FP3 tomorrow will be at 11:30 UK time. Because it's the weekend and I'm not working, I'll be live earlier, before the session actually starts, rather than just 1 minute beforehand, because it is the weekend. So yes, I'll be live 15 minutes before the session starts for FP3, and I'll be live half an hour before the qualifying starts tomorrow. And then the race, of course, on Sunday, we go live an hour beforehand to have a look at the strategy options, make sure there's no shenanigans with the drivers making their way round to their grid slots, and predicting potentially what can happen in the race. And then we stick around after the race to discuss everything that occurred. So yeah, guys, have a lovely rest of your Friday, and we will catch you tomorrow. And if you want some further and a Red Bull racing action, I'm about to post a video that was a very eventful race, to say the least. So hopefully, yeah, you enjoyed that, and that's some light viewing for you this evening. So yes, have a lovely rest of your Friday, guys, and we'll see you tomorrow. Bye!